All right, I'm just going to say this. If you're going to do suggestions in the suggestion box, do suggestions one at a time. Too many people now. Like, it's just like 17 paragraphs. If I start this, I won't even get through it today. Seriously, like if I start this guy's suggest, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 paragraphs. It's a suggestion box. It's not an essay box. It's not write me a fucking book report box. It's just leave a little suggestion of improvement. This is like a laundry list of things. I'm not going to get through this. Like, this is actually a waste of time because if I start, like I said, I mean, we're already at 11:56. You know, I would probably take like 20 minutes to do suggestion box. I can't even get through this guy's post in 20 minutes. All right? So please, if you're going to do suggestion box, try to fucking do something that's concise and or organized and separated into... Here's another one. You know what? I'm just going to ignore everyone that posted up 17 things in one post because, again, you missed the point of the suggestion box. I don't think you understand what it is. It's not the bitch box where you literally list 5,000 things in a row. You have to... I'm not even kidding. There's 2 posts in a row like this from 2 completely different people. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like I would have to spend the entire podcast going through the post. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, post concise things. Take the one big suggestion you think could improve things and post it up as a post, and I can go through them and it's digestible. There's my suggestion for you. All right. How about this one? Here's one that's a nice quick one. You ready? Try to learn to use OBS a bit better. It's annoying when you struggle to change scenes and you want to do close-ups or when you're changing to gameplay. If you set up scenes for each of those instead of moving sources around the canvas, it's better and faster in the long term. And it's a good idea to clean up sources in OBS so you can find things faster. Well, I think what you're talking about is, for example, if I wanted to do this and I said, oh shit, I wanted to do a close-up and I clicked the wrong one, so then I click on this, right? In truth, if I used this more, I would totally remember. The thing is, I don't use it as much. And so because I don't use it as much, I forget and I click the wrong thing. And I'm like, all right, close up. Oh, shit. Right? So, admittedly, there you got a point when it comes to me doing those kind of transitions. However, what you don't understand is, for example, let's say I'm over here, all right, and I say, okay, it's time to set up gameplay. And so I go over here to the scene. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I go over here. All right, well, wait, I got to get this out. So I get over here. Oh, no. Well, now the webcam, right, is the wrong resolution. So now we got to resize the webcam to the 4:3 aspect ratio, and then we got to fit it to the border. So what you're saying is have this all set up ahead of time. I can't. This webcam is limited. This is not what you think. This is not some like high-end device. It's a webcam that can only be broadcast in one resolution at a time. You can't even set it up to be multiple resolutions in different windows. It doesn't work. When you change the webcam in one window, it changes it in all webcam or all windows at once. So really what you see moving around is me trying to figure out where does the webcam go every game, because every game is different, right? Every game has a completely different heads-up display. And because of that, I have to move the webcam here or here or here, resize it on the fly, etc., dependent on that heads-up display. Now, once I've played the game once or twice, right, then usually it's easy to figure out. What you're suggesting is have a different scene set up for each game. Yes, I could do that. That is absolutely correct. That's something that I just never done. I could have, okay, this is my Street Fighter screen, right? This is my Elden Ring screen. This is my podcast screen, and they're all set up separate, right? This podcast screen is separate, and this is its own thing. The only thing I do is I change this for the Level 1 podcast or for Ask the King, or excuse me, the Daily Wrap. I'll change the border. Outside of that, this screen is pretty much set up one way for everything. The problem really is the webcam. It's limited, and I wish that I didn't have to do it that way. I would have loved to have it pre-set up so that I could just go between scenes and immediately just go right into the gameplay, but I can't because this webcam needs to be manually adjusted. There's no way to do what you're suggesting. Now, if other people have figured out ways to do it, it's likely because they don't have this webcam. They probably have a better device that actually can change resolutions when you go to different scenes in OBS. This one doesn't do that. It just stays locked at that same resolution. So, fair enough when it comes to learning better OBS. For me, it's literally because I just don't use it as much. Like how often these days do I say, no, right? I don't use this as much. I used to use this a lot more. I'm not using it as much anymore. But when I was using it a lot, I actually was doing it more often. I wasn't screwing it up. So, but that's a valid suggestion, and I appreciate it. You know, maybe one day when I get a new PC and I'm completely setting up from scratch, I'll start setting up tons of these extra screens, like for each style of game. Like definitely for Street Fighter, I could have it set up so that, you know, the border is a certain size and is already there established, and all I got to do is move the webcam. That would probably be a big help, because every time I do Street Fighter now, I got to resize the border, resize the webcam, do it all. So, fair enough. Excuse me. For the Level 1 podcast, get some background music, not the pre-stream music, to help on dead air segments like getting up to close the window or turn off the fan or go to the bathroom, Q&A, looking for questions in chat. If you remember, what I'm doing now is I have the pause feature. And again, these are suggestions from a month ago. In the last month, I've implemented this new pause feature where I can do this. By the way, so for those on stream, I've paused the video to implement, to show people when I pause and unpause. Ready? Okay, I'm going to unpause and scare people. And then I can do this. See? It's a pause feature where I can pause recording and resume. So now, if something really annoying is going on, and I got to get up, like let's say I got to blow my nose, or, you know, I got to close the window because the landscapers are coming by, I could pause the video. Now, admittedly, for those live on stream, it's going to be a momentary pause, but what's the point of playing music for like 10, 15 seconds just to come right back? I think that's a little silly. But for extended things, yes. And by the way, also, someone made the suggestion, why don't you have like an overlay that'll say like, oh, on a quick break or whatever. Like, for example, you know, today I'm going to finish. Well, today's a bad example because today's the React show, right? But let's say on a normal day, I finish the podcast and I say, okay, I'm going to go on a brief break to use the bathroom. When we come back, we'll start with the game. So I could put an overlay up that just says on break, right? So I'm going to do that. I have it too. I just haven't put it into the stuff yet. I have to get it, and then that way I'll just have a little overlay that'll say on break. So you guys will know that I'm away for a minute and then I'm coming right back. Okay? Cool. Make Q&A be a part of the podcast less often, or have your staff collect questions ahead of time to avoid dead air killing. I don't have staff. It doesn't exist. I have a couple editors who do things like make thumbnails or make emotes or are upscaling a ton of old videos for my channel. I don't have staff. You should get that idea out of your head right now. Anything like that what you're suggesting has to be done by me. I don't have time to screen a ton of Q&A questions early. That's literally what the suggestion box is. Okay? Now you're saying, make Q&A shorter. Well, Q&A works because we do it at the end of the show, and we get questions out of the way, so that way we don't have questions when I start with gameplay or reacting or whatever it is. If you tell me to just cut it out or make it shorter, all those questions are undoubtedly going to hit me when I start with the content after. So instead of reiterating what everyone says, actually justify what you're saying. Explain to me why it would be better to have everyone asking me those questions when I start playing the game or when I start reacting, rather than during the podcast. Because my intention is that that's the point of the podcast, to get everything out of the way before we start with what's supposed to be the meat of the content. Right? Rebrand your channel if the podcast is the main focus of your channel. The podcast is not the main focus of my channel. Change tip rewards because they're overplayed by now. That, I'll agree with you. You know, when we started with tip rewards many years ago, it was a joke. Like, it was, oh, raise a certain amount and I'll put on the vest. And the vest was a meme. And the meme persisted for months and months. And then after the meme ran out, I was like, we'll still have it. It's just not a big deal. But then people were like, can you have other things? Can you do, you know, other tiers? People wanted to see other silly things like the gunner glasses or a hat. And we've added all these things now to the rotation that you can do. But you're right. They've been around for a few years and they're not exciting anymore. I agree there. So what would you like? Because here's the thing. When you say change the tip rewards, great. To what? That's like going into, again, I know I do food analogies a lot. You go into Subway and you say, man, I really just don't like your sweet onion chicken teriyaki. Get rid of it. And then they say, okay, well, what should we serve instead? Like, I don't know. So your suggestion's a waste of time. If you want me to change something, that's fine, but change it to what? What's the replacement that you think would work? That's the input I need. Not just change something, but change it to what? So you gave me half a suggestion. Come back and give me the other half of the suggestion, and then we'll consider it seriously, but that's a half suggestion. Do 3 shorter streams a day. 1 for the podcast, 1 for a game, and 1 for game 2. That's literally what I do. Basically, I start this stream and we do the whole podcast segment. I take a break. That could be considered the end of the first stream. Then I come back and we do a whole gameplay segment. Then we take an extended break so I have time to have dinner and spend some time with my wife or maybe do some chores. And then I come back for a night stream. Like, that's exactly what I do. I don't know about the suggestion box, man. Somebody suggested, like, do 3 segments. I do 3 streams, 3 segments. That's exactly what I do. Reduce your webcam space on screen. You only need to show your face for reactions. The Pac-Man ghost or blame it on the lag lamps are distracting and mess with your bitrate for nothing. That's the absolute first time that I've heard that one. Most people have told me they like the setup. They like the backgrounds, right? What do you guys... I'm curious, with those of you who are in the chat, what do you think about that one? Do you guys think that we're in a situation where the camera is a problem? Right? Does anyone think that? I don't know. Okay, someone actually already banned that guy? Okay. Obviously, guys, I wasn't looking at chat because I'm doing suggestion box. I took care of it now. I haven't heard anyone complain about the camera besides this person. Seriously, like, I haven't heard anyone complain besides this one person. And it's like, huh? So, I don't know. Unless more people complain about that one, I don't think that's something that's going to be changing. And also, make the camera smaller. Does anyone think the camera is way too big? Get a new microphone. Here's the thing. We've already fixed this. Because, again, these suggestions are a month old. They're like, get a new mic. Your audio's too low and blah, blah, blah. Everything's fine now, right? In the last month, we've made audio improvements. So the volume's louder. We have filters on the mic. The pop guard's different. Since we made all these changes, I think the audio's better on the mic, correct? So that one was legit. I agree with you that there was problems with the mic, and I think they've all been fixed. Okay. So here's someone saying, lots of your fans want there to be a top super chatter leaderboard. You said this is not possible because of the different currencies. How about this? Super chats are made with US dollars, euros, and British pounds are eligible for the leaderboard. Euros and pounds are more valuable than a dollar. With those, you know it's slightly more than the amount would be in dollars, so you don't have to convert a less valued currency amount to USD. This might be unfair to those who don't live in countries of those currencies, but I'm sure the majority would like to change. Even then, if you were to say, get a 10 euro super chat, treat it the same as a $10 super chat. Sure, it might be unfair to Europeans, but at least it would allow you to easily put a top super chatter in the leaderboard. I could. If people really wanted that, we could do that. And the thing is, that's going to give less people opportunity, right, to really get highlighted. Because if you remember, the way that I do this leaderboard is, yes, we do top tipper, but we do last super chatter, which basically means when people super chat, they're always going to get highlighted on the leaderboard, unless there's like 10 super chats in succession, boom, 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 right? So, yeah, like the way I see it, I like this because it basically think of it this way. Most people who tip, all right, are usually coming in here to do some pretty significant contributions. We get some pretty big tips. I would definitely say we get way more big tips than we get super chats. Okay? Not to say that I'm not appreciative or that we don't get super chats that are big. We do sometimes. It's just not as often. Usually people who come in to do super chats are just tossing $1, $2, right? Maybe $5. And that's great. And again, no problem there. But the biggest contributions are usually coming in as tips, right? So doing a top tips leaderboard makes sense. When literally the vast majority of super chats I'm getting in a day are $1, $2, $1.50, right? Maybe $5. Does it really make sense to have a top super chat leaderboard? What ended up happening is if one person does a sizable super chat, they're on there all day and nobody else will get that recognition. Right now, tons of people get recognition because of the way I set it up. But listen, I could change it if people were interested. Again, you're right. The currency conversion has always been the thing holding me back. It's annoying that YouTube doesn't do that. And therefore, I can't really tell the difference. Like right now, I couldn't tell you if a euro, a pound, or a dollar is more valuable. I guess you say that both the euro and the pound is more valuable than the dollar. But how do you discern between? I don't know. I just have to lie or guess. And there's going to be mistakes made then, if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. There'll be situations where I think one thing's more and it's not, and then people will probably complain, right? So It's really on you guys. Let me know if people think that that's a good suggestion. Hey, start doing top super chat instead of last super chat. That's something that I'd be willing to try. I don't know how well it's going to work. But let me know. Okay? Let's see here. Why not go back to games you like and do challenge runs? For example, complete a game using only X weapon. Try and follow some fun achievements. Maybe do good bad decisions on a playthrough like Paragon or Renegade and Mass Effect or shorter games. I think others can tell you if you're enjoying a game or not. It does a lot to your performance as a content creator. That's why I think going back to games you love and like, maybe spicing up the playthroughs with hurdles, challenges, or just different approaches creates unique, fun, and memorable experiences. You could use tip goals to incentivize viewers to unlock these playthroughs. Well, what do you guys think? I guess the question is, what kind of games, right, would you guys think would work for that for me? I'm honestly not sure. You know, I think the reason why you never see me do that is because I'm a variety creator. If I were someone who only played fighting games, who only played FromSoft games, who only played Call of Duty, then it'd be like, okay, well, you need to add these X factors in there because, man, does it get boring once you're just playing one style of game over and over and it's the same thing in a loop, right? So, okay, I know for a fact there's people who play FromSoft games like crazy, and they're in their second, third, fourth run of the game. So now it's the naked run. Now it's the fist run. Now it's this certain sword run. Use craftable items run. Like someone had just said yesterday during the birthday marathon that there's some guy. I know who he is. He's, I think, Lobos Jr. I think he's a FromSoft player, right? Like he plays all the Dark Souls games. And they're like, he's already in his second run of Dragon's Dogma 2 playing it completely differently. And I'm like, see, that's what he does. But that's because that's the kind of game he plays. He plays that style. So he has to do those variables to keep content rolling, because without that, he's dead in the water. There's nothing else to do. With me, I always have games to play because I'm a variety creator. I can play a jillion different games. I've never really heard anyone say, hey, go back and do another run of this game with this variable. And I've suggested that, actually, over the years. Remember, I said we could do, like, challenge runs of classic Super Mario where I have to beat a stage in a certain amount of time, or, you know, only use a certain kind of weapon. We were doing that in Call of Duty. Do an all-knife match. Do an all-handgun match. Or how many kills can I get in the match, right? We were doing these things with bounties and other things over the years. And they were fun. So if you guys have ideas of stuff like that, I'd be open to it for sure. Let me know. I would like, again, I like the suggestion, but I need more specific examples. You gave me a generalized suggestion. I like the generalized suggestion. For example, right now, in the next week, we're going to have to find something else to do to put into the rotation as like a night stream. Maybe we could do some challenge run night streams in games. But what would you guys like to see me do? What would the challenge runs be? Right? I need feedback on that. Okay? Cool. It's already 12:14. I feel like we should get to shout-outs now. I feel like if we don't get to shout-outs now, we're going to end up going way late. So I think we'll do that.